Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Study with PowerPuffs. In this video, I am going to explain the first and the basic and very important topic of physics, that is reflection of light. So before going to start this, you should know that why you need to study about the reflection of light. So in order to understand your surrounding and nature, so if you have you ever wondered that why can't you see things in dark room, and why after rain rainbow appears, and why there are so many beautiful colors of rainbow, why I why you are able to see your image in the mirror and twinkling of stars, and likewise. So if you want to understand this phenomena, and if you want to know the reasons, then you need to study this chapter. So what are we going to study in it? So in this chapter we shall study the phenomena of reflection of light using straight line propagation of light, which is called ray of light, and this basic concept will help us to understand some of the optical phenomena in the nature. So now, what is reflection of light? So when light strikes the surface of an object, some of the light is returned into the same medium, and this phenomena is called reflection. So when light strikes the surface, not all the light come back to the same medium, but some of the light tends to return back to the same medium. So this phenomena is known as reflection. So you should remember an important term, that is reflecting surface. So what is reflecting surface? The object which reflect the light is called reflecting surface, and the best example of a reflecting surface is mirrors. Now we will know that what are some laws of reflection of light. So what are the laws of reflection? The reflecting surface obey the following two laws. You have already know that what are the reflecting surfaces. Now these laws of reflection are obeyed by the reflecting surface. It states that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Let us consider angle of incidence is I and angle of reflection is R. So you should know that what is angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Okay, let us consider a mirror XY. Now AO is incident ray. A ray of light is incident on the mirror at the point O. So AO is called incident ray, O is called point of incidence, and after incident it get reflected along OB. Now let us consider ON is normal at the point O. Now the incident ray makes an angle I with the normal, and this is called angle of incidence. Similarly, the reflected ray makes angle R with the normal, and this is called angle of reflection. So according to this law, the angle of incidence I is equal to the angle of reflection R. Coming to the second law, the incident ray, the normal to the mirror at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. So the incident ray, the normal to the point of incidence, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. Is equal to 2g, because we have already knew that VOM dash is g, and as this both angles are equal, so COB is equal to 2g. Hence the angle of deviation of a ray by a plane mirror is twice the glancing angle. Next we will see that deviation of reflected ray by rotated mirrors. So let's suppose M1 is a plane mirror and AO is incident ray, and after incident it get reflected along OB. Now here alpha is the glancing angle that is made by AO with M1. Now we turn the plane mirror by an angle of theta. So the new position of the plane mirror will be M2, and if the AO, which is the incident ray, is remain unchanged, then the reflected ray will be along OD. So here glancing angle will be alpha plus theta, that is AO M1 plus M1 O M2. So your glancing angle of AO with M2 is alpha plus theta, that is AO M2 angle. So new angle of deviation is COD, which is twice the glancing angle, that is 2 whole into alpha plus theta. Now angle of rotation of reflected ray is BOD. So BOD here is angle of rotation of reflected rays. Now glancing angle of AO with M1, we know that the glancing angle of AO with M1 is alpha. Now the angle of deviation is twice the glancing angle, so it is 2 alpha. So COB is 2 alpha. Now angle of rotation BOD. So here angle of rotation BOD is equal to COD, this angle, minus COB, this angle. So we already know that COD is equal to 2 whole into alpha plus theta, and COB is 2 alpha. So multiplying 2 with each term, we will get 2 alpha plus 2 theta minus 2 alpha will be equal to 2 theta. So we get angle of rotation BOD is 2 theta. So theta here is angle of rotation of the mirror. So thus if the direction of the incident ray is unchanged, the angle of rotation of the reflected ray is twice the angle of rotation of the mirror. So if we turned the plane mirror by some angle, then the reflected ray will also be turned by twice the rotation of the mirror. Well, next we will see that images in a plane mirror, and also we will see that how images are formed on the mirror of objects. So let point object A is placed in front of the plane mirror M. So suppose A is a point object and it is placed in front of the plane mirror M. A ray of light AO incident on the mirror is reflected along OB. If a ray is incident along AO, it gets reflected along OB. Now a ray of light AD incident normally is reflected back along DA. You should remember that when a ray of light incident on a plane normally, it gets reflected along the same direction, that DA. So thus the rays reflected from the mirror M appears to come from I behind the mirror. So our human brain always assume that the rays from the object always come which is in front of it. So here a point object is A, and the ray of light coming from this object, and the rays are reflected from the mirror and get reflected along OB. But the person which is present at E assume that the object is present at I, because it assumes that the rays are coming from the point which is in front of it. So it assumes that the rays are coming from I. So in this way our eye see a image on the mirror. So now so the observer at E sees the image of the object at the point I. So AD is equal to DI, and this distance is equal to this distance. So thus the object and the image in a plane mirror are at equal perpendicular distance from the mirror. So the distance between the object from the mirror and the image is equal. So now we will see that multiple images in a plane mirror, and it is a bit interesting that when we see a movie and when we see that there are so many plane mirrors, and we also see that a single object forms multiple images of it. And how it is possible? Because of more than one number of plane mirror and the angle made by them. So how to know that how many number of images will be formed? So here is an formula that n is equal to 360 by theta minus 1. So here theta is the angle made by the plane mirrors, and let's suppose here is the object, and if two plane mirrors are placed at 90 angle to each other, then the number of images formed will be n is equal to 360 by 90 minus 1, that is 4 minus 1 equal to 3. So also remember that if two plane mirrors are parallel to each other, then infinite number of images will be formed.